Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make your existing NATO strap into a Zero Pass NATO strap. Now, this works for all watches of, and varying lug widths, uh, including 18, 20, 22. However, in this video, I'll show you 18 mil with the Seiko 5, as well as 20 mil with all the other watches. The only requirement is that your NATO strap has to be at least a certain length. So you can see for this NATO strap here, it is 9 inches. That will not work just based off my testing. Same thing for this one. This one is 10 inches. That also does not work for my wrist. Um, this is the smallest that I would go. And this one is about 11 1/4 inches. So that's at the very least what you need. Also, I highly recommend that you get Perlon NATO straps instead of traditional NATO straps because you will see that Perlon NATO straps allow you to use an infinite adjustment, whereas in the example I'm going to show you in this video, even the smallest hole will be too tight for me. So I'll first demonstrate it on the watch that I use the most often with this combination, which is the Hamilton Khaki Field. So what I usually do is that I put it, install it normally as if it was a regular dual pass NATO strap. Now I like to wear my watches all the way to the end of this keeper instead of in the middle. That's the way I prefer it. By keeping it in this regular double pass, I can recognize where the position is on this watch. So now what I want to do is hold it in place, get rid of the keeper, the second pass, and then while holding the top lug, the top spring bar in place, because of how wide the lugs are, the lug gap is, this watch will tend to slide. So holding the top lug, the top spring bar in place, you will pull to create a gap. Now you don't want to pull all the way too far back because you still need a loop. This loop is where you're going to put your wrist through. Now, it will move around, especially because you're trying to put your arm through. So I'd still recommend that you use your other hand to hold this top one in place, top spring bar in place as you loop it in. So let me go ahead and do that right now. I usually just try to use another finger to hold this hold this in place as well while you loop this in. Now it will be tight, but with enough work, it will go ahead and work. While you're always keep the spring bar position where like steady, because if it moves, this top part where the other keepers are will move around and it'll go closer to the spring bars, and you don't want that. While you have it set, put your one finger on top, secure it, and with your thumb and index finger, pull to tighten. You can just see that it will tighten. Now, this pulling action that you're doing right now, that determines how tight the watch will go on your wrist. And I would recommend that you do looser because in my experience, doing the zero pass method makes it extremely tight. When it's set, pull this down and that will essentially create like a temporary cinch, and this watch is not going anywhere for now. You can just see that this just moved up. So you still want to keep that in place as you pull. When that is ready, what you want to do is that you want to grab the first keeper, the extra flap keeper, and push it and loop it through. So just use your other fingers to pull this in Ignore this one for now. That's totally fine. Pull this one in and pull. Now I would recommend this one cinches it. So like I recently just said, this one pulls and tightens it. This one cinches that tightness. And by doing this makes it, by pulling in the opposite direction, it tightens it even more. Now, when you have the appropriate thickness, put pressure here where that keeper is, because if you let go, it's gonna fall out. As you're putting pressure, bring in the actual loop keeper and loop it in there. Grab it, pull, and then secure it. Just so you know, you can just see already. Just this is 11 1/4 inch strap, how much little material is left. So I would highly recommend that you get a strap that is at the very least a foot long, if not even longer. Because you can just see right here that it doesn't even pass the second keeper. And with that, you therefore get a zero pass NATO. This makes it incredibly thin, and it makes it hug the wrist even more. However, even on this adjustment, it's very tight on me. So you can't loosen it like that. You have to go back all the way to step like 1 or 2 where you're initially tightening it to make that looser. And only then will you be able to loosen it. But other than that, this is how you do a zero pass NATO at home. So you don't need to buy a NATO. You don't need to buy a zero pass NATO for 65 bucks. You can just buy this. This strap is a Perlon strap that I got on Amazon for I think 20 bucks. I do not remember what it's called, but it's a Perlon NATO strap and hopefully you'll be able to find it. So this is how it looks, and this is that method. Especially when I push my arm, like twist my arm like this, I feel it right here. That's where I feel the tension. So I would definitely highly recommend that you do it looser than tighter. And just so you know, this method does introduce possible hair pulling. So that's another, especially since the metal is now in contact um with your hair and skin. So that's how it is on the khaki. I'll show you on the other watches as well. To take it off, I highly recommend that you do caution because it will easily fly off. So how I usually do it, un unbuckle the buckle, then pull this out and hold. That's one. Next, push this out, continue on. You can just see how it just easily just flew out. Now you gotta be careful, slowly unravel, and I personally grab onto the actual watch. Hold it from the top and then pull. By pulling, this will unravel the strap from the bottom spring bar, and that's how you get rid of it. And that's how you disassemble it. But just know that if you were to let go, it'll just fall out. So you have to be very careful when taking this out. It does not have the security of a double bypass um NATO strap where you can just fling it out and have it stay secure. Like if you were to take your watch off, it still stays. So that's one caveat of a zero pass. You lose the what makes the NATO almost a NATO. Like what kind of makes the NATO unique in a way. So I'll continue to demonstrate it on a 20 mil lug width. This one's going to be the Seiko 5. I will use that on this longer NATO strap. This is an actual NATO with holes. This one is pushed down. It's about a foot and a quarter. And even then, a foot and a quarter is already still too short. Still short in my opinion. But I'll go ahead and redemonstrate that to you again. Just like I said, repeat how I usually do it. Pretend it's a double NATO, which it is. I pull down. Especially with the Seiko 5 as well as the other watches, the gap between the actual spring bar and the case is much tighter. So you don't have to worry about it slipping as much. It still will slip, but not as much. It's just that I very much dislike how much of a gap that is. So once you have that position secure, you know where it goes. Hold on to it. Take off the the extra flap. Hold on to the top spring bar. Slowly create a loop. I usually put my thumb and index here, and then I put my ring finger on here. Create pressure. Put it in. I usually clamp down with my ring finger. Once it's in, keep pressure on the top while you use your index finger and thumb. Pull up the cinch. This tightens it. Remain pressure on your ring. Make it looser intentionally. Pull down. Slowly let go. Grab the bottom, the extra flap keeper. Push this down because you already made how tight it is going to be. Loop it. Once you get the loop, grab, pull, pull up. And then what I would do is I use my index finger and my thumb finger to push up. You can just see how that strap is moving, right? You can just see it. Make it as tight as you need to or as loose if you need to, because what you're doing right now is that you are securing the tightness right now. It actually, in my opinion, actually makes it tighter. So once you're set, put pressure on that extra flap keeper, flip it up upside down, bring the buckle towards you, loop it in. Once you're set, grab, pull, and then for a NATO strap, put it in the designated hole that you need to. Just so you know, this buckle does not do anything to make it tighter. This buckle is only there just to secure it so that it doesn't go anywhere. Keep it in. As you can see, even then, this is a foot and a quarter, and it's not long enough to hit the second keeper, or it's not even long enough to even fold back into itself. Now, just so you know, by doing this double NATO, you will have very slight, a very slightly gap right here. That's up to personal preference. You can see it very obviously here. It's like an extra like air cushion almost. But that's a zero pass NATO on the Seiko 5. You can just see it's zero pass. Now, just so you know, by doing this, the buckle, the hardware is all at the middle of the bottom, middle of the bottom. So rather comfortable in my opinion. Just that even then on this is too tight, even on the smallest hole. And this is a hole that I poked myself. Still too tight. And I'll show you on the Seiko 5 SNK 809 and 18 mil. To put just like that, taking it out, get rid of the buckle, pull out, pull the buckle out, keep on grabbing the strap, do the same thing, the extra flap keeper, do the same thing, pull, pull, pull until you reach the watch face, grab the top spring bar, and pull and let go. hold on to it. I'll demonstrate it on this time with the Seiko 5 18 mil. This is not as long as this blue NATO. This NATO I got it from Watch Candy Wrist Club. This is their seatbelt material, I think. I forget how much it was. This one's exactly a foot. And I'll do the same thing. Now, this is a very thick material, and because of how small that gap is, it slides and it stays in place. I don't. It stays in place for the most part. So I really don't need to worry about it moving in place when I'm first securing and putting my hands through the loop. Now, because of how thick it is, I personally do not like it, but that's up to personal preference. Find the position, loop out, create the loop. So for this one, I won't worry about it. I won't worry about it moving because of I know how tight the tolerance is with the thickness as well as the gap. See, it did not move at all. Okay, trying to create refocus here. Tighten, make it loose, make it just snug because it will get tighter. Once you have it set, flap down, keeper one, pull, insert pull, drag out, push, push. Once it's done, grab the buckle, loop the buckle, and tighten. This is already at its smallest hole, and it's already, I can feel it snug. It is snug, and I can't even get it through the first keeper. If I make it any more tighter, it's going to be painful, but this is how it is. On an 18 mil, Zero Pass NATO. So that is how to make your existing NATO straps into a Zero Pass. So you do not need to buy a $65 Zero Pass NATO strap. There is no need to. If you have a long enough NATO strap, or in my opinion, like I said, Perlon strap, which allows you to create as many holes as needed, you can just go make your own Zero Pass. Now experiment with this, see how tight it is, because it is extremely tight. For me, this is a method that I use very rarely, as I prefer double, if not at the very most I'll go single, because I still require the NATO strap to keep my watch in place. Actually, we'll show you spring bar failure and how it works. So I currently have it on my Hamilton khaki field, Perlon. I made it intentionally looser, so this is actually snug. It's not too tight, but if I flex my wrist, you can feel it, it's tight, so it's snug. Of course, I can always make it looser, especially because of Perlon, I can choose where my buckle goes compared to a hole for NATOs. Now, I'll demonstrate you a spring bar failure because a spring bar failure will mean that this watch will completely fly out, which is why I personally do not use this method. Spring bar tool. I'll demonstrate on the khaki because it has drill lug holes and I can just easily demonstrate to you. So let's just say you're just chilling and a spring bar failure happens. Now the spring bar flies, that's going to be unfortunate, but you can see right there, spring bar failure, spring bar falls right there, and the entire watch falls off. And that's the aftermath. Just looks like this. If this happens in real life, your watch definitely will fall to the ground, and this will definitely happen in the most unopportune time, and there you go. That's why, in my opinion, I do not use this method. However, I still want to demonstrate it to you. So that's it for the video. Um, Hope you give this a shot. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And until then, have fun. See ya.